Let's talk about how you can launch and set up a quality management pillar and how it would work in practice. So a bit less theory and models and more about how will you make it work in your factory. Hello, I'm Tom. Welcome to my channel where we talk about continuous improvement in an industrial setting. And in this video, we'll talk about some of the practical aspects of launching or maintaining your quality management pillar. So we know that the quality management pillar is about reducing quality and material cost and also reducing defects. And it does it by really strengthening the quality parameters and conditions within your process to ensure quality in a preventive way and not just correct everything afterwards. And as each pillar, it will do this by having a good analysis of your current performance and setting some benchmarks, by supporting the teams that make improvement, and also by making sure that the knowledge spread throughout your whole organization. It's quite a lot to take in. So let's start by who would you like to have as pillar members? Now, since we'll be working a lot with quality costs, complaints, defects, we will definitely need people from the quality department. But a lot of what we'll be acting on with this pillar is about material efficiency and also about process parameters and conditions of our lines, processes, materials to ensure that we have a constant and good quality. And this is usually organized by a technology department or something in that vein. So it's very often outside of the direct scope of the quality department. Make sure your main technologists are involved in this pillar, and preferably also get one or more technologists to actually be pillar members. And of course, the people who are actually setting the parameters, maintaining the conditions on the lines, and who are doing the checking of the material, they also should be involved. And we're often talking about production department, warehousing, and maybe somebody from your laboratory, because these are the people that know how our system works in practice. And a big part in our quality management system is how do we ensure that our quality standards, and then mainly these conditions that we need within the process, are stable and maintained. And for this, it is important that we know that they are easy to set and easy to spot. And this is the type of knowledge and input that you would like to have firsthand. So if you can have some operators, team leaders, somebody from the laboratory within your team who has a real heart for quality and would like to work on improving the quality and the quality management, this will be such a boon to your group of experts. And also make sure that the leader of your quality pillar is somebody from the site management team. This goes for all pillars. And so for the quality management pillar, we will probably want either the quality manager or the chief technologist or both in the pillar, so that you have a really strong link with your site management. And the role that is not always covered by this list of people is the person who is really good in analyzing your material costs, material efficiencies. Now, in many organizations, your technology department will have all the knowledge and skills to be able to do this, to really analyze and deploy your quality and material losses and effectiveness. But if they do not, if in your organization, this is for instance with your finance or controlling department, of course also include those specialists. Now, the direct money from your quality improvement initiatives will come from material efficiency teams, so scrap reduction or defect reduction type of improvements that will decrease the amount of raw materials you need per final product. And that's why there might be a very big push from your factory, from your organization, to only focus on this type of improvement. But let's take one step back. If this is the only thing you will be doing, you do not need a quality pillar. You just need a couple of people who are good at identifying and eliminating those quality losses. The pillar will only reach its optimal contribution if you are always and analyzing and improving and building the underlying quality systems. So make sure that you are looking at all three aspects right from the start and at any point during the lifetime of the pillar. Now, of course, your focus may shift a bit, because indeed, if you have lots of defects or lots of overusage that's just costing your company loads of money, yes, you focus on that, and you're not going to stabilize some process somewhere because it looks nice. Focus on what your factory needs, but do not forget that you want to put some effort in all these three aspects. Within continuous improvement, and especially within a world-class organization, we want to be basing our decisions on numbers, on good reliable data. So make sure that for your factory you have a good mass balance. It's important to know how much raw material you've been using for your production process, and also make sure that you have a good understanding of where the material flows. And a good rule of thumb here is that you want to be able to at least trace 90% of your losses of material. So if you have your good product coming out and your raw material going in, the difference between them is your total material loss. At least 90% of this, you should know where it's flowing, because otherwise you might be steering only on feeling and not really attacking your main losses. And another great benefit of doing this analysis, and also doing it very soon after launching your pillar, is that you immediately know where you are lacking registration systems, where you are lacking a good measurement of quality. Because of course, as a quality management pillar, you would like to identify and then stabilize your quality conditions, but always try to do this in an area where it will also help your organization the most. So that's what often goes wrong in a pillar structure, is that you really focus on the theoretical idea of the pillar. And I've seen a number of quality pillars going into, let's really stabilize our CCPs, our critical control points, because they are important from a quality point of view. And this might be true, but probably your organization is much better served if you identify that there is a defect that you see quite often, but your factory, your operation, they don't really know which quality parameters need to be very stable in order to not get that defect. So if you, for instance, you have a shift factory, so with 3 or 5 shifts of people working on this production line, and they put different settings into your machine, they work with a slightly different way of working, then this will never guarantee your quality. And working on that, making sure that you draw out what is the setting of the machine, what are the parameters of your production process and your material, in order to make this process stable and reduce our material costs, then you are really into the heart of quality management. And then you will also use the other quality management tools on this process. So when you want to stabilize your process, don't fall into this pitfall of looking only to the conditions that are already known, that you are already following. Often, when the quality management pillar is new to a factory, there will be many process conditions that have not yet been identified and set as a standard. And in my experience, the real benefit will come when you go into your production process and you distill which settings are your experienced operators using, or what do the people with the so-called craftsmanship do when there is a problem, and then to codify it. Often I will hear in a factory, well, you just need experience to be able to handle this defect, or you need a certain feeling to sense if the product is off or not. And you will often see that this very experienced operator will not be able to tell you what they're looking for, but when you systematically ask what they are doing, which things they are looking for, what they are measuring, how the feeling is, when does it go wrong, and what buttons do they push when they see that there is some variation, you can deduct what they're actually doing. Because more often than not, experience and craftsmanship are knowing intuitively which buttons to push and what parameters to look for. And they are looking for many more things than your work instructions describe. But they are looking for those things that you probably want to make official and then stabilize. So to make it practical again for how do you organize your pillar, I would say start always with an analysis of your defects and material cost, and then as soon as you can, launch 1 or 2 improvement teams on the top losses that you found in your analysis. And then the big thing to change from probably previous attempts to solve this defect is that you really want to make sure that these improvement teams are looking for process conditions that will guarantee the quality. And then when you have those, your next improvement effort will be to stabilize these conditions. So basically this improvement team itself should already do that, but you focus on actual losses for your organization, but you do it in a way that will allow you to build on those results. And then you really get this continuous improvement cycle running. And then you are doing what quality management is all about. And then the question, do I need green belts, black belts? Yes, eventually. You want to be able to use those systems, and especially a black belt training will give you a real good understanding of which statistical methods to use and how to set up proper experiments and how to really go into these concepts like the measurement systems analysis part, the statistical process control. These topics will become important if you want to really get your quality management to a higher level, but also be practical. If you have no people with a continuous quality improvement education on your team, yes, you should try and get some at least green belts for Six Sigma type of improvement methods in your team. But likely when you are building up a pillar structure, you have either consultants or already a number of continuous improvement specialists within your organization, and this will be enough to get the start of your pillar going. And you should also step by step build up your quality management. And as long as there are still huge deviations in your processes or some soaring quality wounds, so to say, and the data quality is very poor, you do not need those statistical tools because the statistics will not be reliable anyway. Now, in another way, how you can make your quality management pillar valuable to the organization right from the start is to assist in getting your material and defect KPIs up and running in your performance control system. Likely you are already reporting something about defects or scrap or some material cost, but it's just as likely that these measures do not really help you to understand where the problems come from, so how you can then start to solve these defects. And you also want to make sure that your performance control system is moving a bit away from checking the product quality at the end towards checking these conditions. So as soon as you identify and standardize more process conditions, also make sure that guaranteeing and checking these process conditions becomes the focus for your performance control, so that you are stabilizing your processes and so that you can already act when there is something wrong with your conditions, so before something will be wrong with the product itself. And as a last point, I would like to give you a warning not to go after that one big quality issue that has been haunting your company for the last couple of years. So let's say that you have this persistent quality problem that your engineers and your technologists haven't really been able to solve in a nice way, and now you have your brand new quality management pillar. Do not make the mistake of thinking that this pillar will be the wonder drug to get rid of this age-old problem. Your chances of actually solving this problem are very slim, and it will just blow away the motivation in your team, and also it will not give you a good foundation from which to build on to this real quality management. So do your analysis. The best thing would be if you discover some material inefficiencies or defects that were not so well known in the company yet. Pick one of those and then solve a problem that is solvable. You need a couple of first successes, so a couple of quick wins to show that your team is delivering results to the organization. Also, as a management team, you really have to make sure that your new pillars get a couple of very visible and realistic, so perhaps not the easiest, but at least realistically solvable problems, so that they have a running start also within the rest of your organization. And this will give you a new way of looking at quality management within your factory, and then your pillar starts to really add value. Now, I hope you took some useful bits of information or some ideas from this video. It's a little less structured than I usually like, not so much theory this time, more a bit of experience. If you liked it, please hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. For now, I wish you lots of luck with your quality management, and as always, enjoy the journey.